everybody, and welcome back for another episode of Everybody's Talking About It, the show where we talk about everything that everybody's talking about. We are back for this episode, y'all. I'm so happy y'all are here. This episode is dear and near to my heart. It's about the creative and the performing arts, man. Like, this is just big. This is my life's work forever. I'm still I'm hype about that, but it's so good to talk about it. And I'm here with some really dope artists that I've known for a very long time. Some of us, I've just met my bro Khalil over here, who is the husband of my good friend of so many years, Ainyae. Plug another Kappa alumni, bam. And then my girl Vicky, who you know from the show, but something that we don't often talk about is me and Vicky have done some shows together.
Yes.
Particularly, the man at the end has brought us together. This is Dr. John W. Grace III of John Grace Productions. He has put us in some of the dopest shows that we have done. I mean, I can say that. We have done a show called The Perfects together, and we have done Moses together. Yes. We have done The No Name together.
Yes.
And we literally have created magic, and it's all because of this guy at the end, writing and directing and creating. It's literally. I have to speak about this experience on camera too. He did a show, Moses.
Uh-huh.
And to watch it go from just melody to then lyrics to then script to then I was just wait a second.
Watch the birth of it,
just
right?
go watch it. How do you write a whole play just from melody?
He had nothing.
But he had the story because the story was in the Bible. It's a Bible story. I showed him the story of Moses. But it's the way you tell it. And it was something dark about it, but it was something that was raw and authentic, but still so musical and also bright.
Yes.
It just had so many different elements of it that was just hold on, is this really happening on stage? My grandmother came and she was just can you believe dancers were the river?
That was important for everybody,
And it's just this is
the
a genius. So I really want to specifically talk to you about your creative vision when you do shows. I'll start with you first.
Yeah.
What do you think that you start with when you're scripting?
For a play or outline, whatever the idea is, at this point, I am thinking about what impact I want to make with words, or if it's something that I need to get off myself or something I'm inspired by, to make sure I hit all my marks, cross all my T's, dot all my I's. It's an outline. It's the beginning, middle, and end. And that's how I start my process, not just in creative sense, but in an organizational sense. You know what I mean? That's how I complete stuff.
Yeah, I like that. That's dope.
That's why I'll never get anything done. I got a lot of projects people have never seen.
Yeah.
Because I had no plan. I can't keep doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that because it is. I'm literally just starting to get to that point in my life where it's I'm being diligent about my work, being specific about my work. And it's just okay, what do I want to do? Yes.
The intention.
But he's also said that a couple of times, and I'm so glad that you brought it up. Go ahead, Ainyae.
Yeah, you have to be intentional with what you're doing. And it's funny, John, that you would talk about, you have struggles, right? Because people may look at your work and he got it together. I'm trying to be like John. You're about to be stressed.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even understand what goes into it when you're doing that creative process. But you have to be intentional with your goals and intentional on what you're going to do. So an outline is always going to work because it at least sets up what you're about to do, not trying to do, you're about to do. And that helps guide the rest because everything else will come. So something just like you guys said, you were able to watch it grow from the beginning, right? From Moses, the melodies and the lyrics and this and that. That wouldn't have worked if he wasn't intentional with how he set it up, because he knows, okay, I have to lay the foundation first. And after I lay that foundation, then we can start building bricks on it, or it's going to sink. It's going to fall. And that is how you continue to do what you're doing. And even though when you're a creative, right, you already have a certain mindset and you know what you can do. And when you know your worth and what you can do, you always feel like you're lacking.
Absolutely.
And that is not the case to the outside world, but just internally for you. But as long as you continue to be intentional and build a foundation sturdy, then it can last.
I always say creators are like the craziest people. I always say that. Like you have to be. Like you almost have to be.
Gotta talk to yourself sometimes.
Oh my God, you have to live inside your head almost because it is. It's so many things that you get out, but it's so many things that you internalize as well, and that's what makes us crazy. Like because. Especially when you, I think that in the later years of working with John, I've gotten more attached to like these characters, like wanting to understand and all of that. And I started watching like actors do that. So now it's so crazy. I was having this conversation with John before where sometimes I get really critical of actors sometimes when we're watching like certain movies or TV shows because I sometimes, especially particularly if I know certain actors are in the movie, I then start analyzing it for this person's acting, you know, outside of, you know, let me just take it for what it is. Because I was like, I know you're good. So it's like now I'm looking at you all the time. Like, let me see if you're going to keep on that hot streak that everybody thinks that you're good at. So sometimes, like, you know, sometimes it gets like that. Sometimes you're let down. Sometimes, you know, it's like they're just as good. So, I mean, I think that that's what it is. Talk about it, Khalil. In your process of seeing art, what has been like your favorite, like seeing, like, I guess when you say, the creative process, what would you say is your favorite part?
Okay. So my part of the creative process that I like the most is when you actually get on the stage and do it. So when the people are out there acting, because like you said, you have to really know your character internally. Like the crowd's not going to know that this guy had these issues in the past that made him act like this. But like one of my productions I did, one of the guys, he was like a drug dealer coming to the school to present, like sell through his brother that was going through the school. So he had a good brother and bad brother. But he had this thought process in my head, like the reason I'm yelling at him like this, like you guys wrote in the script, he like upgraded our script. He like, the reason I yell at my brother like this is because as a child, I'm the one that had to sell drugs to get us here. I'm the one that's putting all the clothes on his back while he's in school. I'm the one that's paying for his school. So he better let me use it here. That's why I'm yelling at him. That's why I'm coming at him. And I'm like, I didn't write that in there, but you did, and that makes a lot of sense.
You know what? So and that's a lot of good stuff too. So he'll come back and ask you, so, you know, what's your character about? Like, and you okay. Like, and then I remember that when I couldn't answer. And then now it's now I'm coming here. I'm coming here with a list. Because now I know what he did.
Something else the bad stuff. It's one thing about that, you always know your character. Miss Bass taught us, like, just about really understanding, right, and really creating a character. And I hold that so dear, like, years and years later, 1,000 years later. I'm still holding it tight because it's just like real people. Like that's what people don't understand. It's not your story, but it's someone's. It might not be someone you know, but it's someone's. And someone's eventually this is going to touch somebody who says, that's me. And finally, my voice can be heard, right? But when you're in that moment, she's asked us like, you know, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What's your father's name? I don't know. It doesn't say. It's like, what do you mean? You're the character. What is your favorite color? What is your favorite food? Not what is Maurice's. What is yours? And what is John's?
Go ahead.
No, jump.
So when you say not what is Maurice's, 100%.
Yes.
But there's a huge part that I say, a part of my process in terms of being or moving things forward, that I have to come with my most authentic self.
Of course.
And I have to know all of these things about myself.
Of course.
If I'm going to be successful in creating somebody else.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean that these parts of myself are whole.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
It doesn't mean that these are whole and fixed parts of myself.
Right.
It means that these are facts.
Yes.
It is what it is for this time being, this state that I'm in right now. And so for me, art is healing, and healing is the arts. Yeah. That may not be for everybody, but that's my experience. And my awareness of that is fuel for me to offer that wherever I go, however I can. And the beginning part of that for artists that work with me is that you got to bring your whole self, because ain't nobody going to connect with your half self, especially if they coming for free, they still have expectations. You know what I'm saying? And in the world, not because you want likes and followers, but because you want to keep growing and you want to keep going. It takes skill and it takes will. Skill and will. A lot of people are operating in one or the other. You got to be both. You got to know how to arrive and continue to arrive. And here you go. If you have issues arriving on the stage, that tells me everything I need to know about your life. Your life. Now, I don't know if that's a John Graves thing or if you just a no person thing. Like, if you have issues showing up, boom, you got issues showing up, period.
And And
Period.
I feel like what I said kind of piggybacks on that, because at the same time where you definitely need to bring your whole self, you still have to separate self from what you're doing. And that comes into play with what you're saying about coming on stage and feeling uncomfortable, feeling like I can't do it because everyone's watching me. They're not watching you. They're watching Mary. Be Mary. Get it together. You know what I mean? And I think I feel like that's the other point of it too. Like, you just have to be able to bring your whole self so that you can pull every passionate piece, every detail, everything to just really bring this thing to life and still separate yourself at the same time. And that's like magic, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean by skill.
Yes.
That's what I mean.
I was just about to say that, because then also that comes with experience too. Like, you have to build that up over time, because there's some people that can snap right into certain things, and there's some people that you really gotta work them up. Like, I've literally watched people that can literally cry on cue, and then some people that you really gotta think of a memory. Somebody actually gotta physically yell at you or something. It's a method.
Everybody has a method. See, even what you're describing, you know what I mean? If that may be for you, that may be for you, that may be for you. It's important. That's what I'm talking about. Skills. It's important to study. It's important to learn, so that you don't feel isolated or that you're one of a kind in terms of arriving. It's just about how to arrive, or what's your niche, or what's your way. You know, but from the directing side of my part, or from the teaching side of what I do, and the acting, two different kind of mindsets. You know what I'm saying? Directing for me, because it's just easier for me to do it, I just be trying to get the job done. I'm not necessarily concerned about your process. You know what I'm saying? And because it's not the pace.
I don't give a fuck how you warm up. Get it done.
That's why that's why people go to college. That's why you do what you do. That's why we spend millions of dollars or thousands of dollars to learn. You just don't. You don't learn that in the process. You learn that before you start. But so many people get in the process without learning the process, and they feel entitled or get entitled because of what they are around. Or the arts is welcoming, and the arts is accepting. It makes you. It's home. It's home to the people who don't. To the homeless.
The homeless. Come on.
Home to the homeless, and this don't mean you got. This don't mean you feel sheltered. We're talking about feeling safe. You know what I'm saying? Feeling safe, and
free to be.
You get to be. You get to be. You don't have to play. You don't have to play anymore. You get to be who you are,
authentic.
And that's why I said you got to bring your whole self, because we're not who we are most of the time. No. We're pretending until we hit that shower or end up in life more than we are ourselves. But when you got to show up in front of people, you got to deal with some things. All right,
Let me speak on that. Now, I can honestly agree with that, because for a long time I was one, and he can attest to it, because I can honestly say grades is actually where I started. Like, I've been in churches and things. He I don't know, trying to know, but I didn't find out I can actually act until I was 27. I'm 38 now. But I started in churches. I think I started acting with JGP when I was probably, I'll say 5 years ago. I'll say 5 years ago. But when I first showed up, oh God, the conversations that we had, he was, you need to pour. You need this, get out of your head. So I get where he's coming from, because it took me years to get to that space where I had to, because I would go on an audition and I wouldn't be my authentic self. I wouldn't show up as myself. I would show up as the person that I thought John wanted me to be, or whoever was being the judges who wanted me to be. I can honestly say that whatever it was that God allowed me to go through, these years has pushed me to only be my authentic self, no matter where I am. So I am and that's why I say I understand. So I believe that being an actress or artist or whatever that you decide to be, a singer or whatever, I believe it also takes you to build character in yourself to become a character. If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
So that's where I am in my life, and now I'm just like, what? Just give it to me. Like, whatever it is you need me to do, give it to me, because now I'm able to tap into it, because I understand that I'm here to be myself, and I can play with whoever you need me to be. Like, what? I can play with this? This is, I can become? So I get what he's saying when he's like, be your authentic self.
That's the fun in it too, is discovering that. Discovering the different people that you can be. But all under that, you're still you. And it's so crazy, because I always say this, it's so people don't realize the subtle differences in acting is when people can have a new take and put your own spin on certain characters. So, it's for instance, this new movie that just came out, Respect, the Aretha Franklin story.
I ain't seen it.
No. I watched Jennifer Hudson play it, and I saw Cynthia Erivo play it. And what is crazy is just that people's different interpretations on roles, and you're in the way that you give or the way that you pour into it. It's not so much all in who's right, who's wrong. Right. It's just what can you give different, and what did you get out of it? Did you sell a story? Of course, certain people can, mimic people a different, a little bit better than others. Some people, that's all about, gifts. Like I say, Jamie Foxx did an awesome job because he's good at impersonations in general. Not only is he a good actor, but he's also excellent at impersonations. So that's why it was such a spot on, role. A lot of people can't give that. You know what I mean? So that's also a level, and that sometimes just, based on who you are and what you're able to give. But some people can just give and give no matter what. Viola Davis doesn't look like a lot of these characters that people describe her out to be, but she murders and discovers that and makes that person who it is. I do too. She's one of those people. Denzel, another one. I mean, there's no coincidence that we're naming a lot of black people, but it is what it is. But it's not because you still have the Meryl Streeps and Daniel Day-Lewis. A lot of people out here who are masters at what they do that I'm inspired by as well. So I want to drift off into some of our favorites. Like, what was one of your favorites? I'm gonna start with you, Khalil. What was one of your favorite movies that got you interested in acting or the stage or any of that? Like, what was the first movie that you ever saw that was just like, wow?
So one movie that I saw that had me like wow was Catch Me If You Can. Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. That's my man. So I just love how he turned into that character and how he pulled it off. So it looked effortless.
He's very underrated.
He's very good.
I think he's underrated.
Leonardo, he killed it in there, and that really made me. I was like, wow, you really gotta get into the character because I tried acting before, right? I'm a great actor when it has to be comedic because I'm not a serious person in real life.
I'm a funny motherfucker too, but nobody wants to put me in
and I had a role where it was a serious role, and I did my best to do it seriously, and it was like, do you a little bit, and then when I changed it to me and made it more comedic, but still kept the serious points, but threw comedy around. That's how I do stuff in real life, and that's why I learned from looking at the greats. It's they're able to turn into the character, but they turn into it their way, like you was just saying.
Yeah, that's a thing.
And it was I had to learn from there that I had to turn to the characters and turn to it my way.
Absolutely. I like that.
And
Ainyae, how about you? What was let me go deeper. What was a scene from a movie that made you just say, acting is it, baby. This is it.
A scene.
One of the ones you can remember. Just one.
Let me say this. Movies that I grew up on were Annie with the red curly hair, Grease, The Wiz, obviously, a wonderful movie. And so when I think about those, I'm a feeling person.
When I think of home. I'm about to say.
She always sings that.
I really love that song. But I'm a feeling person, right?
Okay.
I'm a feeling person. And for me, I have to feel something, whether it's annoyed, angry, whatever. It just has to make me feel, right? Those movies make me feel. Those movies send chills across my whole entire body, right? And when I was a kid, I used to sing along and sing the songs and all of that and jump in. I want to do the choreography. And I'm assuming that's probably where it sparked for real. It sparked before then is what I'm told, but it sparked probably for real in there. And so I can think of home, literally, in The Wiz. Babies flying, beautiful things, and there is so much passion in her face, in her voice, and Diana Ross, she's just standing there, and I feel what she's saying, and I got it as a kid. I got it, I get it. And even the song, the lyrics, it has a message in itself, right? And you're talking about home and what home feels like, and she's not talking about coming into a building.
She's not.
No.
She's talking about a feeling.
Yeah.
And when you're ignited in such a way, that to me stands out because thinking about it gives me chills because I can still feel it from her and the joy from them just in the movie and what I felt from each song. I'm sitting there like, wow, this is my song.
Did you know metaphorically that movie is basically about feeling?
Yes.
Like it is, everything is about feeling. It's
and
like,
that version is my favorite. And I will definitely say that her and the darkness with the children hanging will probably be one of my favorite things just because of what it signifies, what it makes me feel, and what it gave, right? And just like we talked about, if I played the character, I probably would have gave something different because we're not the same person.
No.
But what she gave was so powerful that today it still makes sense.
Despite the controversy of her being too old.
Yeah, no, she was never too old. You know what I mean? People will say what they have to say. And people will always have their own opinions. But she killed that role. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And at whatever age. And there's just so much passion in the film itself.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking of Annie and her singing with Daddy Warbucks in the president's house. You know, that was another moment just because talking about tomorrow. Because I'm about message and feeling. And so the message in itself, just feeling how that felt gave me the same feelings. Gives me joy in a sense, but you know, it's like
it's a bite.
I'm about to pop, you know what I mean? And that's what I can say.
Give it to me. What's the movie that changed?
First, I want to say this girl can sell anything. This one here. Let me tell you something about this. I'm gonna go home and watch that.
Don't you want to just thinking about?
Come on. And I want you to fast forward and I want you to see the twinkle in her eyes while she's standing there. Come on.
I mean, I would too. Because if I was the lucky orphan to go stay with Daddy and Daddy Warbucks, I'd be like, I'm saying. I would just pick up my chin and grin and say, tomorrow.
No, today.
Right now, this very moment. Fuck you, I'm saying. Kids, no tomorrow, like. I'll be waving at them kids. Bye. It was real while it lasted, you fuckers. You little never
Annie was from Philly. I think he did something.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna do a real. They tried to do a black version, but she wasn't black enough. Oh, yeah, so I put my ass in there. But black enough. That's you ain't missing out on that. Go ahead. Now, what's the movie? Say no. I'm sorry.
That's another conversation.
Jay-Z produced that movie. He got enough power to shut all your shit down. I'm sorry. I apologize. Forgive me. Go ahead.
Michael Jackson. No, I'm joking. It wasn't Michael Jackson.
No, what was the movie that changed your life, baby?
I'm joking. So honestly, here's the thing. So I didn't have a movie. What I did have, so my parents were acapella singers.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
This was weird. They were doo-wop acapella singers. All of my life, I would sit on the step. I would listen to them sing, all types of stuff. Groups go. So what I did was when I grew up, I watched my father create music through voices. So when he would get on the stage, you thought you were hearing the song with the music, but the notes were so dynamic that you weren't missing the music. So to watch them perform, I had went to, at the Arts Bank, they did Cooley High.
Okay. Come on.
And they were the voices, the singers for all the oldies music for Cooley High at the Arts Bank. And I got there and I'm watching it and it was crazy because it was a weird moment for me when I finally got there with John. We finally did the No Name play. And I remember saying to myself, the first time I got there, to my sisters, I'm the oldest, I'm like, oh man, now I want to be an actor. That doesn't look fun. I mean, like, you know, the actress, that just looks so fun. I want to do this. Like, look at this. Like, and I remember, you know, that feeling that you get over you when you're watching something. You're so excited that you just want to jump in the screen. Like,
come on.
I could never. And I screamed Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson always gave me that feeling as a child. Every time, every move he made. It doesn't matter what he did, every sound he made. I always wanted to just jump in. Like, it was overwhelming. I was just like shaking from the inside out, and I want to do it. And I'm watching movies like Grease Lightning, and I remember doing that, the play in high school, and I'm like, this is so great. And I was, you know, I got my pink lady jacket on because I was Jan.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
Come on.
And I'm just doing this, and I'm just like the overwhelming feeling of just being on stage and watching other people be on stage. I was just excited.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be on stage. I didn't care who I was. I didn't care if I had a lead role. I didn't care if I was ensemble. I just wanted to be there. And I've always had that. So that was it for me.
Yeah.
I just get it. I felt something. It pulled me, and I just I need to do that. I can do that. I need to do that. So. That's always where I
What
was.
about you, John?
With movie?
Yeah, or actor, or even scene, just changed your whole, or made you just want to take a bite in it, you know?
She got me. She got me from the tangible experiences that I had growing up around my mom, my grandma. So there were movies, there's 3 ways really. Disney, Disney like 1 and 2 and 3, around that age, really shaped me in terms of music,
Imagination and stuff too.
And then like action movies, like Lethal Weapon, or any like ninja, anything ninja, superhero. So that shaped me. The music, things I like to see, and having a tangible example in front of me, like being in front of it, the lights and all of those things, and that feeling of just wanting to jump on that, to just be a part of that, because of what it made me feel. It was never about audience members. Like, you know, it was always about like doing whatever was happening inside of me for me. You know what I mean? And being my most authentic self, and hopefully that is contagious.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Lethal Weapon, that was a big
My mom loved Lethal Weapon.
And anything Disney growing up as a young boy.
Hold on. Sorry, he alright?
Yeah.
5 seconds.
From the series. You talking about that made me think about when we did Fiddler on the Roof. That was from the series.
Yeah.
That was probably my most challenging role.
Really?
Because, as he said, you have to be able to bring your hopes up and pull out. And I was afraid to tap in. And I used to have a problem with critiques. Really bad. Like, it used to be like hearing. And I remember Miss Morrow came to me and she said, stop trying to think of the character as pretty. Right? It's like the dead butcher's wife. I'm literally rising from the dead and I'm coming and I'm doing this crazy stuff, and I kept trying to make it pretty and trying to get it right because I'm a perfectionist. I want to get it right.
Right.
It didn't work. And when I really tapped into it and really took the character for who the character was and took out all that other stuff thinking, it worked. And I remember someone came to me and they're like, I thought you said you were in the show. I didn't even see you. That was the best thing somebody could have said. That's
you know what?
And they used to call me from Sarah for a while. You know, my guys just everybody.
For me, my first realm, I was in 8th grade. I played the Scarecrow in the Wiz. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. But it was like I had an awesome teacher, rest in peace to Miss Roebuck. She just really believed in me. Like she was just like, this is it. Like, you have it. You just have it. I was a little upset because we did the Broadway version and not the movie version. So I had to sing I Was Born on the Day Before Yesterday and not You Can't Win. Michael Jackson stole that song from me. I swear. And then my upper register was a little bit better for that song and all of that. I Was Born Before Yesterday wasn't really appealing. But we put some elements in it. They, added the scene from the movie with the Emerald City thing with the dancers, and I just was like noticing like there's people in this world that really had was our age, like just 12, 13-year-olds who were just so passionate about it, and just that's what really got my eye, because that was the first school I went to that was connected to the performing arts. I went to his grandmother had an awesome performing arts school that I was a part of as a young, but I didn't stick with it when I was supposed to. So I got older and I started to get back into it. Then I took another break at it. But once going to Kappa, it was different because I didn't utilize what I was supposed to there. It was, we get to high school and, some people, they devote their time to doing what they're supposed to do, their art form. And then a lot of us, it was just a high school to us at the time that just happened to be a little bit more freer than your average, everyday public school. So I wish I could go back to those moments and do every freaking show, every freaking musical and all that, because once I became an adult and I got to see adults in Jesus, just like going ham, like going at it. And I don't know how many times I've cried just in rehearsals, like not even just at the shows. We would be in rehearsals. It was times where we would just have to take a 5 or a 10 just to like cry or even have a praise break or even just pray for a second, because it would be that intense in those moments. And when you really have to take those breaks, you're really doing some good work. Because it was like, remember, we would be like exhausted, just not even from just the work, but just from the heaviness of what all the show is. I remember even going back just to cut this off before we end. when we were doing The Perfects, which was my first show as an adult.
Right.
I did it with John. This was before you came to do the revival. The trenches of that show. Like, we would just be in John's living room like all night, just building these complex characters. They were like the most complex thing you would ever see on stage, on camera, just anywhere, to the point where it was just like, this show is heavy. And we would literally be in the trenches with it. Like, literally, I remember when I first exercised, was supposed to cry. Like, that's it, cry. Let's get these emotions out, because it was such a heavy show. And I don't even think John knew what he was writing at that time. Because when he first presented it to us, it was literally, everybody basically had like a blurb of character. Like, and we was all in this little seat. Like, you know, everybody had a pillow, and literally he's constructing this show. And it's just like, wait, is John really about to put this on stage? Who puts show about spirits on stages and stuff? Who does that?
To watch it actually made me want to come to, because
That's
that
what
was the
everybody
first
says.
play I
I've never
came to see, and I
I've
was
never
like,
seen it.
oh, what's his name again? You said he do plays?
Yeah.
And I went and I said, oh, I'm auditioning. And there was no name after that.
I've never seen it, because I had to be in it.
To
like,
watch
every time
it
he
was
called
on
back, I said, I gotta be in it.
I go with
level.
feeling. She says feeling.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta feel
so a lot of what because I went to school and I was taught to teach. Like, that was my degree. But a lot of stuff they was teaching me really wasn't working.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would try all the things that they told me to do to get people to arrive, but time would be running out. And it's case by case. So it's either you get thrown in the fire and arrive, or get thrown in the fire and burn. Sister, burn. Okay? And that's where we gotta go. And you know what I'm saying? You want 10 years to get here, or you want 10 minutes?
Come on.
What you want?
No,
3 minutes.
But all of it is giving up yourself, and all of us make sacrifices.
Right.
So it was the trenches, but it was the trenches because we did, a lot of us hadn't studied to arrive. Yeah. So we had to be taught these things. We had to be taught to prepare, and to taught to like recover and be rejuvenated, because the other side of that was the hell we had to go through.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Whether it was physical, being knocked out, you know what I'm saying? Arguing, whatever, because you were giving up of yourself, and being young people, you don't really understand that process. You know what I mean? Even as somebody directing or writing. You know what I mean? But if it's in your face, you're the actor, and it's 10 feet away as the audience member, you can't give no fluff. You want to make an impact? You got to give up the goods. You got to give up the goods.
It's so crazy, because you know what it felt like? It's a new show out right here on Hulu called Non-Perfect Strangers, right? That's what it felt like. And that's not even what this is about. They're not together to do a play, but they're together at a retreat in the show. But that's what it felt like. We were 9. People were familiar with each other. I'm not saying that, but overall, everybody in the cast didn't know each other. So it felt like we was put into a room with non-perfect strangers, but you had to be vulnerable with these people right away. We had to give up the greater part of ourselves. And like you said, a lot of that, we didn't even know who that is of ourselves. Like me, when I did that show, I was 22. Didn't know. You don't know who the hell you were at 22. And you had to give yourself to be somebody else who also didn't know who the hell they were. I was like, oh my God.
And that goes back to being your authentic self, like arriving. And that's what I had to learn, because I'm telling you, I used to get around people I didn't know and get afraid to be somebody else or even myself, and it's like, how do I do this? So I'm that person that John was talking about when he says it's either you get thrown in the trenches and get out there and you arrive, or you just don't do it. I was always the throw me in the trenches, because I know I have to do something.
Yeah, you were definitely
because in rehearsals he'll be like, more, and it's like, no, I think I'm just
you did. You stayed there. I fought back a couple times and got kicked out. You definitely did. You definitely did. You definitely did back in there. Yeah, I fought back and said goodbye, go home, and then we called back, and then come on back. You got your attitude together. Come on back tomorrow. So we worked it out.
And what I will say,
we worked it out, friend.
Piggyback on that is theater. Theater does that. Right? Theater does that, and people. I've done theater and I do film, and people always ask like, "Oh, what do you like better?" It's like I don't like either of them better because they are powerful for different reasons. Right? When I'm on film, what I like is the closeness. It's right here. It's in your face. I'm filming you. I'm right here in your face. The emotions is raw. It's nasty. It's ugly. You know, whatever. If you got to be dramatic, whatever you got to do, it's right here. But when you are doing theater, right, which is a different and I feel like every actor, if you've not done theater, you need to do theater, because theater is a foundation of this shit. Theater is what really sets you up and sets you apart, because when a show is going on, how we can stop if somebody make a sound, okay, pause, let's just read. You cannot do that. You just have to go. go. And you gotta give it, because the moment you step on that stage, that's it. You cannot turn around and walk. You can, but you'll be played. So you cannot turn around and walk off because, 1 second, let me go look at my line.
Right.
And you can't do that. You have to show up and you have to show out, and those lights are on you, and hopefully it's dark enough that you don't focus on the people's faces, and if not, they're looking at you. They're watching every move you're making. They're watching everything you do, but that feeling, it's like, I've said this to friends where I'm like, I get nervous too. Like, they're like, you get nervous? Yes, girl, I get nervous too. But when I step on that stage, especially for theater, and I talk about that a lot, when I step on that stage for theater, that shit's out the door. It's done. As soon as my mouth opens, it's done.
And that's all.
That's it.
And I hope y'all, I appreciate y'all coming through for this conversation. Y'all enjoyed this? I gotta have y'all back. And that's what. I gotta have y'all back.
How long?
Let's really talk about it.
John, you got some stuff coming up. We got his Here's the Cool Stuff sitcom. It's a web series. It's coming soon. Stay on the lookout for that. We got Moses is coming back in November. Be on the lookout for that. Vicky, what you got going on? You going back? Moses is back on back. I'll be back. I'll be working in some capacity. You can check me out on Here's the Cool Stuff, the sitcom as well, coming up. What you got going on?
I have a children's show that's out right now. It's Storytime Anytime. We are streaming season 4. It is a good time. It's a children's read aloud. I'm also doing a horror that we've been filming for a year that should be wrapping soon. And I might be doing my monologues again.
Hey! Damn! What's up, fellas?
So what I have going on is I have my IG stories and series going on, Mr. Residuals, where I teach health, wealth, and all the great things about life. So you can check me out there every Wednesday, Mr. Residuals. But we also have our stage plays that we take to different schools showing kids how to get through college at GoBelieveCulture.org.
That's it. So here's your resources right here. And if you want to audition for stuff, you want to come out and support these shows, come on out and see these are their things. Support the artists. Artists have to stay alive.
They have to stay alive.
We'll see y'all next time on Everybody's Talking About It, where we're going to be talking about addictions. Get off that.